This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. While we make every effort to ensure the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Laugh Cry Club. I'm Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Chelsea. And if you're an imperfect human who laughs and cries, then this podcast is for you.
We're so glad you're here.
We are. That's true.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. We are talking about anxiety this week. So as a reminder, everybody, we are 3 licensed therapists here to guide you through this thing called life, and we can't wait to talk about anxiety. We all experience this. We start with our laughs and cries of the week. We'll talk about anxiety, and then we'll talk about our topic for next week. So who is going to go first? Chelsea.
Well, this morning I had some quality time with this individual, and we laughed and we didn't cry. But I have a feeling there's some laughing and crying that she would like to share. So I will nominate our most wonderful, sweet, lovely, beautiful Joy, who's also very joyful and uses her name Joy to describe things. And it doesn't feel weird.
I don't get weird about it.
She does not get weird. It just streamlines. It goes together. So Joy, I nominate you for the laugh and the cry, the first one of the week.
Well, it's so timely. So I was telling Chelsea right before we hit record that I had a really extreme laugh cry this morning, just a couple hours ago. In my brain, I was like, wow, should I talk about this? Because I don't want to start crying. But you know what? Maybe I'll cry. But it was, again, that moment that I always talk about in the Amy Poehler book where she's like, it's the extreme right turn of life. 1 second you're crying your eyes out and the next second you're laughing. So when I tell my laugh, I'm going to tell my cry first, but when I tell my laugh, it is a little R-rated. So if kids are
listeners,
for adults,
turn up and tune in.
Yeah,
I'm really interested in this now.
Well, if there's kids listening, like just maybe skip my laugh because I just don't want parents to come at us and be like, I can't believe you said that. Anyway, so it is a little bit, it's not for kids, it's for adults. As everyone knows, big dog lover, and nothing makes me cry faster than something potentially happening to my 13-year-old JT. So he's 13 and 3 months now. And this morning I woke up and one of his eyes, like lower eyelids, was drooping really low. Like it just looked like his left side of his face was just like kind of droopy, significant. And it happened probably in the last 24 hours because I would have noticed it yesterday. I panic because anytime something happens with my senior dog, I panic. I just can't help it, which is timely that we're talking about anxiety because maybe we can walk through the steps of what happened in my body this morning. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to call the vet this morning. I'll get him in to check it out. Thank goodness. And then I was feeling very grateful that we have such good health insurance for JT that I was like, I don't feel stressed about money. I felt really calm about that. I know that just comes up a lot with vet bills. So I just immediately called my vet. We got him in this morning and I was like, okay, I'm going to go work out. But I just was in such a worry about him that I was starting to spin. I could feel my body and my mind just start to go into like the worst case scenario. He has a brain tumor. He's going to go, he's going to die tomorrow. This is going to be something that immediately takes his life. Like I just went to that place. So I worked out and I was trying to get my mind off of it. And the second I got off the treadmill, I just started bawling. And just like that boo-hoo cry where I needed to have a release, crying my eyes out, just sobbing. And Scott's out of town on a work trip and he has a really big presentation today. So I don't want to call him or talk to him because I don't want him to worry because I know he has like he's focused so hard on this presentation he has to give today. And I'm like, the last thing I want to do is worry him. So I'm in my house by myself, bawling my eyes out, just like letting it out. I'm so worried about him. Mind you, JT is acting fine. Like he's not acting weird. Everything else is fine. But I'm just so panicked about anything that happens to him. So I'm crying and I'm texting my best friend in Arizona. And I'm like, telling her what happened. JT, I woke up, blah, 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 blah. This is what's happening. And she's like, so here's my laugh that's inappropriate. Okay. I laughed so hard, and thank God for friends who can like take something really sad, but also then just like make you laugh. And she's like, I'm going to read you the text thread. She says, stop panicking. It's fine. Don't worry until you have to worry. I'm like, I just cried. And she said, I get it, but there's usually bigger signs if he's not eating, if he's not drinking. I'm like, okay, that's a good reminder. She says, as they age, I feel like anything sets us off because we love them so much. What time's your appointment? So I tell her the appointment time. She goes, look at this. She sends me a Google search. It says labs are genetically disposed to have this happen as they get older. This just means a new nickname could be coming. J Droop in the house. And I was like, okay, that's hilarious. And she goes, okay, this is the inappropriate. Okay, so cover your ears.
Children, cover your ears. Adults, turn it up.
So she has this tiny little dog name. And part of the thing that with my best friend I laugh at all the time is she makes up the funniest nicknames for her dogs. I'm always laughing at that. She has this tiny little dog named Archie. And she says, Archie has a little pimple thing near his weenie. And we started calling him Pimple Dick.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, I needed to laugh so hard. I was like, oh my gosh. So she's just trying to get me to like, hey, maybe this is nothing serious and you could just bring a new nickname into the mix. So that was my laugh cry. That was like, I'm still a little shaky. Like I'm over the extreme. And all I can think about when I was crying, you guys, was just let this go for 90 seconds. Let this go for 90 seconds. And it does work. Like I was like, don't fight it. Just let yourself cry. And it felt so good. And I feel like I'm less anxious. I'm less hyped up. I'm probably in a better state of mind when I get to the vet. So I don't like completely unravel at the vet's office. So here we are laughing and crying.
All the laughs, all the cries. It's
Yes.
so hard. And isn't it funny how our brain goes to like the inappropriate, like in those moments, it's hilarious to me that you can be in that like worry, anxiety, grief. And then your friend's like, yeah, Pimple Dick. And you're like, done. I'm cured. Like I'm cured. That's why humor is so important, y'all, because it's.
And I know she loves her animals just as much as I love my animals. So I know I just know that like, okay, if she can joke about this, it's going to be okay. Like I can laugh about this. So gosh, yeah, it was such a beautiful, like true life moment of, yeah, you can still laugh in these moments of like extreme panic. All right, let's see. I would like to nominate Rebecca.
Wow. You can roll your R's. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I can.
I cannot. I always got in
What?
trouble for that in Spanish class because I can't roll my R's.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, not in trouble, but basically, like, you suck at Spanish because you can't roll your R's.
You can't roll your R's. Yeah.
You're in trouble. But you know, me, I took it as I was in trouble. I love it. I want everybody to say my name like that now. So, gosh, I've had quite a bit of laughs this week, which was much needed. My laugh this week, there were so many. I'll pick one though. For some of you, you might know that when I walk my dogs, I name all the neighborhood dogs. And
Yes,
so
we know this.
there's this dog kind of at the corner, and he's a little white dog. I'm going to guess he's maybe 10 pounds most. And I call him Gremlin because his bark is very interesting for a little dog. It's not a high pitch. It's more of a throat, like he's had a 6-pack, a beer, and he is a chain smoker, so that's Gremlin. Sometimes he looks a little rough, I'll just be honest. He has a kind of one of those wrought iron fences, where you could stick your head through type thing. But they put like some type of fencing on the lower part to try to keep other animals in and out. So
Yeah.
I, was driving to the alley to get to my house, and I had to go by his, and I saw Gremlin, and his head was out of the fence. And I'm like, oh, Gremlin. And so I was like, he was kind of shaking because it was really cold out that day. And I'm like, that dog is stuck. So I reverse my car. I go and park, and I'm sure I saw somebody else watching me. They probably thought I was going to try to steal this dog, but I wasn't. So I get out of my car, and I walk over there, and I'm talking to Gremlin. I'm like, Gremlin, I can't believe you're stuck. I wonder how long you've been out here like this, because I'm going to push his head back in or figure it out for him, right? Because I'm not going to leave this poor little dog out there because he's in his backyard. Nobody else is there. And he's shaking. And I start walking up to him, talking to him. All of a sudden, he pops his head back in. I'm like, you turd. I had no idea. It's wide enough he can pop his head in and out. So he was not stuck. But that was my laugh because I'm like, I'm going to save this dog. And then I'm like, well, I hope he doesn't bite me, because you're going through all the things in your head, like, I don't know the dog, and I'm going to be pushing this dog back through the fence or pulling the fence open. But
Gremlin was just fucking with you.
He was. And so I'm like, Gremlin, you turkey. So that was funny. He just popped his head back in. I took a picture of it too, because I'm like, nobody's going to believe this. So I'll share it with everybody. My cry has to do with, it wasn't like a full on cry, but I had to take Fritz in yesterday for an eye procedure. He gets these kind of growths on his eye. And once we had a dermatologist kind of like snip it off, but it's grown back really quickly. And so we were at the doggy ophthalmologist, which is fun. This is the doctor that loves him.
The
Yes.
one that loves him.
Loves
I
him.
love
Yeah. So I'm like, first of all, this appointment is going to cost me a shit ton of money. I'm like, can't you just cut this shit off? But no, we have to go through the whole thing, like thousands of dollars to remove this growth, right? So, do the thing. I go pick him up and I can hear him howling in the waiting room. And he's like, it was the same howl that he had when we saw him at the shelter. And it was so pitiful. And I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't think we've left him and we're here. I can hear you. Got him. And he was so out of it because he had been under it was supposed to be, I think it was twilight anesthesia, but he was so drugged all day. He just looked so pitiful. He was wobbly. And anytime you have a senior dog go under, their back legs typically don't really work very well. And so they can't walk. And he would get confused about which way you go through a door because he can't see really great anyway. And then they put contacts in his eyes because they don't want they had to burn these things off that it could scratch his cornea and create an ulcer because that's one of his eye conditions. Like we have to watch out for eye ulcers. And so he's got contacts in. And I'm like, she's like, yeah, they'll probably fall out. Don't stick them back in. And then when he comes back in, I'll take him out too. But he was so pitiful and it just broke my little heart. And he just was a wreck yesterday. But today he's bounced back.
Oh,
I'm
Fritzy,
so glad
my
he
heart just
bounced
hurts.
back.
I know. I was so worried.
How about the contacts? Who knew that was a thing? They put a
that's
contact in his eyeball.
Both eyes, because he got growths removed from both eyes. So yeah, she said they'll
That
fall
protects
out.
his eyeball.
Yeah, so it won't create a scratch on his cornea from where they burned it off, like the scab.
Wow.
Modern
it's like
medicine,
under his
y'all.
lid.
Modern
I
medicine.
know, isn't it crazy? And I
Yeah,
was like,
it's
well, what if they
wonderful.
don't fall out? She's like, well, I'll remove them next week then. And I'm like, well, that sounds like that's going to be real fun for him.
Fritzy.
But when we were leaving, like she was telling us all about it, and she's like, "Oh, I have to tell you, goodbye, Fritzy." And she came and like kissed him on the head, and I was like, "My other vet does not kiss my dog."
I love
But
how much
I love
this
that-
doctor loves Fritz. Like that
do
just
too.
is the best.
I mean,
ever.
can she be that way with us? I need a kiss on the head
I
from
need
my
someone to
doctor.
kiss
I do
my
too.
head and tell me they love me every day.
I know.
Yeah.
Why can't what?
And
Why
like,
can't we get a
really
snuggle?
nurture me. I have contacts. Like, hey, let me help you delicately take those out of your eyes later, Chelsea. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so
Oh my
much. So
gosh.
nurturing.
So, and a kiss on the head.
Yeah, like.
I would love a kiss on. I actually love a kiss on the head.
Well, next time whenever I meet you, I'll make sure I kiss you on your head.
Oh, or my cheek. I love a kiss.
Where do you want me to kiss you? Just tell me.
Just hug me and kiss me.
Everywhere.
You can even pick me up if you want.
Oh, I probably could pick you up.
Oh my
So,
God.
Anyway, I'm going to
Aw.
pass this over to the fabulous, lovely Chelsea.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I like these little laughs and cries today. It's making my heart so warm. Animals are amazing and sweet, and they're like little kids, and we get to have like toddlers forever. And I think that's so cute and fun and sad when they can't help themselves, and we have to be the good parents. So, and I feel bad for the ones who don't have a good parent. So, my laugh and my cry. So, I will confess to another crybaby week. After Steve's stuff, I went really numb. So if you listened last week, my husband has been going through stage 4 cancer. His tumor has grown instead of shrinking. I was really devastated and I went very numb on and off for several days. And then the end of the week came. I was lecturing my son in the morning before school about not wearing his retainer. His teeth are shifting. And I was doing this really shitty parenting where you say things like, well, for every day you don't wear your retainer, that's one day you don't get to, one day I'm taking away from getting your driver's license. Like really like kind of bullshit parenting, right? Like obviously I'm so excited for him to get his license. I'm not going to do that. But I'm like, wear your stupid retainer. Like your mouth is like $8,000 of teeth. So I'm doing this thing and I'm also making the huge parenting mistake where you don't do this while you're driving your kids to school. Like that is the worst. Parents, you have to save it. You've got to save the lecture for when they're at home, because if not, you're setting them up for a hard day. So I'm lecturing him. This is not something I normally do. So he gets emotional. And my sweet boy starts like tearing up, and I'm like, oh my God. So of course I feel like, what are you doing? You know better. Like, you're just going from numb to like agitated. This isn't about, the retainer is annoying, but like, come on. I messaged my husband, or I call my husband after I drop him off, and I'm like, wow, I really like screwed up. I feel really bad, blah, blah, blah. My husband, who's also on edge, because obviously this is his life that he's fighting for, was like, well, you know not to lecture before school. Yeah, I fucking taught you that. Like, I know this.
You're like, duh.
I'm calling.
I like invented that.
Yeah, I'm calling because I need you to be like,
Emotional support.
yes, I need emotional support, which will tie into our anxiety talk later.
Not practical solutions.
Yeah, I
Check
don't
out
need-
my meme on
Yeah.
our
Yes,
Instagram.
so
Because that's
good.
what your face is.
So I, of course, then am like not getting the support I was hoping for. And I drive to the gym because that's my routine, go to the gym in the morning. I sit in the car and I just start sobbing. And I can't get warm. When I get stressed out, I can't get warm. So I have the heat turned on. I have the seats turned on heat. I have the steering wheel with heat, everything, trying to get warm. I'm like shaking cold, sobbing. And then I don't do the 90 seconds because the 90 seconds requires you feel your feelings without judging them, without going into thought. You just allow yourself to feel. But I did the like, wow, you're a terrible mother and your kids are already going through so much. And even your husband thinks this, and fuck him for thinking this. And well, he's stressed out too. Like, I go into like the racing thoughts, knowing like you are under a tremendous amount of stress. You've been doing this. I've been doing this is what I'm saying to myself. I've been doing this for 3 years. I was hoping to have certainty. It's more uncertainty. And of course, right? Like, that's what I needed to say to myself. But instead it was all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, take a deep breath, get out of your car, go to the gym. Just take the next right step. You know how to do this. And I didn't. I took the car, drove it home, sat on the couch, sobbed, went in the bed like a little kid, put the blankets over my head, and cried myself to sleep. Woke up, didn't feel a lot better, felt really drained, very raw. And then I came back to myself compassionately and said that, like, you're under a tremendous amount of stress. Like, of course. And I reached out to some of my girlfriends and they gave me that support that I needed, and my nervous system calmed down, and now I'm okay. But it was that classic freeze mode, shut it down, keep white knuckling it through. And then how our grief, you know, what it is grief and loss, and how that came out in all of these other ways. So it was a big cry. And honestly, I'm really tired of big cries. I'm like, can I just cry about something cute? Like, not cute, but
Well, no, like a cute puppy video that makes you cry.
yeah, like an like my heart
Instead of
got
like,
touched.
Right. Instead of just like this panic and worry and overwhelming fear cry. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my cry. My laugh was the next morning of having teenage kids, always keeping it real. So I went to bed at like 7:00 that night because I like could not, I'm just like, was not functioning. And I just am imagining myself just like underneath covers. I will like contain myself physically. So my whole head, my whole body, I'll sleep with a bathrobe on. Like, I will do all the things to try and warm myself and contain myself. While I was in this slumber, my son had his buddy come over to spend the night, and my daughter had a slumber party she was going to. So my laugh was the next morning when I wake up, I hear, I don't know if we should do this. This could maybe start a fire. And I'm like, what is happening? And I go in the kitchen and my son and his little buddy, his favorite friend of mine, this kid Reese, they have gone to Dollar Tree on their own, or Dollar General. They rode bikes, and it was freezing, by the way. And they bought like rando food, like sausages and bacon and cookies and generic Dr. Pepper. Like, they like bought all this stuff to make a brunch for themselves. And they were in the kitchen attempting to cook. I mean, they threw in like some mozzarella sticks. Like, they had a whole thing happening. And all I hear is, I don't know, this could catch the house, or this might catch on fire. So I wake up and I'm crying, laughing because
You're like, what is happening?
yeah, I walk in and I'm like, oh my God, I love you guys so much. I love the innocence. I love that it made me so happy. And then I check my phone and there's a picture of Charlie and her two girlfriends from a mom. They're all in bikinis posing, and they all have these Taco Bell cups. Charlie's idea of partying. Okay, she's 14. So she's like, I'm going to party this weekend. Now, when I partied on weekend and I was 14, We smoked a lot of pot. We were
Looked real different.
stealing, going to a keg party, maybe stealing someone's parents' liquor. Like, we were dangerous and really getting in trouble. Charlie's idea was, after her club volleyball, was to have Steve take her to Taco Bell, where she bought all of her friends their favorite Taco Bell orders and these green Taco Bell drinks. And they had a jacuzzi party with Taco Bell.
Oh my
I'm like,
Oh my
I can't.
gosh.
It's
I mean, this is her dream. Didn't she want to get a job so she can buy her friends Texas?
take them to
Yes,
Texas Roadhouse. Yeah.
yeah.
She loves to like treat people. She loves to surprise.
Oh, Charlie.
So
that's so
I wake up
cute.
from like this grief of misery, sadness, feeling like the worst parent, all the things. And I wake up to that innocence and I'm like, you're fine. You're actually so blessed. Like, your house is full of love and bacon grease and potential fire starting activities. Your daughter's cute posing with her drink is no alcohol. And her big party was pigging out on Taco Bell and going in a jacuzzi. Like, you're good. You're winning in life, Chelsea. Like, yes, we have this
Yes.
thing going on and it's fucking terrible and it's scary. But right now, in this moment, you are winning. And I could not stop laughing. It was like the cry that was hysterical, the laugh. We can do the same thing, right? You keep thinking about the thing, you start laughing more. You start talking about it, you laugh more. What we feed grows. And I couldn't stop cracking up. Like, all weekend, I'm just like seeing Miles, the bacon, the like mozzarella sticks were brought. Like, I'm just like, and how maybe generic Dr. Pepper doesn't taste much
No.
different than the other, but it's only $1. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like,
That is.
oh my God.
So is that what was causing the fire potentially? Was frying bacon?
Yeah, they were frying bacon and using the air fryer and using the stove. They were doing a lot of
Oh.
cooking together. It was a
Maybe too
grease
much.
disaster.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the best part was I didn't have to worry because a house cleaner was coming after. So I was like, Rebecca. I mean, I had them clean up, obviously, because I'm not an asshole. But like, you know how? Can you imagine how they cleaned?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Grease is.
But I'm glad I could come over and clean your house.
Yeah. Oh my God. How many times, Rebecca, have you and I been on a call and I'm like, Rebecca? And she's like, what? And I'm like, I'm talking to Rebecca, my helper. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So, with my long laugh and my long cry, parents, give yourself a break. You're doing the best that you can. Pet owners, love on your animals. They are going to help you through the laughs and cries and possibly cause both. And today we're going to pivot into a topic. Joy, you want to kick us off?
Sure. You know, it would surprise me if there's people out there that say they've never experienced anxiety. I think it's a pretty universal.
I wouldn't
emotion.
believe it. If somebody said I
I wouldn't
never
believe-
had anxiety, I'd be like, yeah,
I'm
let's.
calling BS on that one.
Exactly.
You know, I think it's just a great time to talk about this. The world seems to be really intense. We've talked about how to manage the information coming at us, but really let's get into the big emotion of anxiety, what it is, how it shows up in our lives, and what we can do about it. So let's just take the example, like really on a basic level this morning. How it showed up for me was I had one instance that I immediately blew up to worst case scenario. That is kind of like this anxiety spike of like the worst is going to happen rather than being like, I'm taking the facts of right now, everything is okay, staying present. So the anxiety just like ramped, those worried thoughts ramped me fast forward into this panic where I just started bawling my eyes out. So let's talk a little bit about the emotion of anxiety, what it is, and maybe just some common things of how it shows up in people's lives.
Let's go back to some of the science real quick, because I feel like this kind of starts with the amygdala again. We've talked about it. It's like a almond shape. It's there in the very middle center of your brain, and emotions, that's where we respond to them from. And it creates that fight or flight again. I mean, it almost like all of our emotions go back to survival
Yeah.
at some point, right?
Survival.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Because we're
They
just all
do.
trying to survive.
We're just trying to survive. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a great thing to keep. I don't think we can say it enough.
Yeah.
because it's such a good reminder that these emotions aren't completely out of our control. It feels out of control, but the reason is we are just trying to survive.
Yeah. And then the messages kind of get sent to that prefrontal cortex area where you have like executive reasoning, where I know last week we were talking about like Chelsea made the decision not to maybe go off on somebody and dialed it back some. And it's like you can make a decision. However, with anxiety, it's like the message is like it's getting bombarded, your prefrontal cortex, with message after message after message. And it makes it really hard to regulate then. So it's like you do have the ability to make some choices, but with anxiety, it is very, very hard to regulate at times because it's just constant. I think anybody would know what it feels like if you can't stop your thoughts from spinning, or it's like constant rumination. It's like you're in that loop. And then that's when we talk about how do you get out of that loop? Because once it starts, it's really hard to get out of it.
So we can add to that, Rebecca, that, when we think of anxiety, let's look at symptoms, right? There's ruminating. Ruminating is thinking the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? You're thinking all different, you're fixated. There's excessive worry. There's restlessness. So we might feel really restless in the body. Muscle tension is something that happens. We're having like excessive thoughts. Like I think of anxiety as it's in the brain, and the brain is trying to get some control by thinking. We also know that for anxiety, the breath is getting, you can't see, but I'm doing like a little square of, we're not breathing all the way down through the core, through the diaphragm. It's getting stuck like in the chest and the throat. So when we have anxiety getting stuck in the chest and the throat, we are short breathing, which causes more anxiety because our body's meant to survive. And it's like, now we're not even breathing deep enough, right? And then this is where we can get panic attacks and things like that. So going full circle to the kind of origin that Rebecca and Joy shared, one of my favorite, this is a Gabor Mate. If you haven't heard of Gabor, he is a physician. He specializes in addiction, anxiety, well, I would say addiction and trauma, which of course we see a lot of anxiety in trauma. And he talks about the origin of panic and grief are a normal response when care isn't available. And that's a quote from him. I don't know if I got exactly right, but so you think about a little kid, a developing brain, 0 to 5 is 90% of your brain's getting developed. And you think about a kid feeling panic and grief and not having care available. So maybe they're in a daycare where they're not getting, there's too many kids and the caregiver isn't, able to get to their need right away. Or you think about a parent who's stressed. I think about this myself, my daughter who had really bad separation anxiety, very stressed out. My husband was touring a lot and she got horrible anxiety when my husband was working for the Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl fell off the stage, broke his leg, and they had to go back and make up the shows. So it ended up being 10 weeks straight that he was on tour. My daughter started preschool at the same time, and her separation anxiety went through the roof. So you talk about like maybe a mother who's stressed, dad's not there because he's out working, daughter's going to a normal thing of preschool, and all of a sudden there's panic, there's grief, there's no language for it. And now our little girl, and she had lots of anxiety for a long time. So we need safety. We need psychological safety to calm the nervous system in order to come back to the here and now, because that's how we deal with anxiety, right? We want to come back to the present moment, but we need safety to do that. And sometimes when the world doesn't feel safe and home doesn't feel safe and all these things don't feel safe, it's hard.
I love that you just brought up the feeling safe, because objectively we could argue that we're unsafe. There's a lot of potential dangers around us at all times. And I always talk about this from a compassion fatigue seminar I went to a long time ago. And I always think about this. The instructor was talking about how our bodies are always tensed in some way. So if you have your shoulders tense, your jaw is clenched, that is sending the message to your body that like we are in danger. And he did this really cool exercise with your pelvic floor of like clenching everything in your pelvic floor muscles and relaxing that, because he argued that a lot of your anxiety and tension comes from the pelvic floor. So if you're constantly scanning your body and doing that exercise of clench and release, that your body, if it is constantly in that fight, flight, or freeze mode, if your body's relaxed, it can't go there, or it's harder to get to that place of anxiety and worry and fear. I would just, on a very basic level, do body scans of like clenching and releasing to really pay attention to where you're storing that anxiety. But something that I always think about is, and I tell my patients and my clients all the time, is if you think about humans and animals, if you see animals, they do such a good job of knowing what real threat looks like. Real threat, if you see any animal in the wild, you've seen any like nature documentary, you see the animals perk up and look around, and you see everything physically go tense. When danger is then they determine that it's not there, everything relaxes again, and you see their body go back to like the homeostasis. Humans constantly think danger is around the corner and is constantly stressed. So we don't know real danger versus perceived danger. So we live in constant state of perceived danger. So to kind of go back to the body scan, it will help. It's one very basic tool, and I'm not saying this is going to cure everything. It is one basic tool to just take a moment, and you can do this on like really any meditation app. They have these body scans. You can Google body scan that can kind of guide you through it if you need help with that. But it's really basically going from like head to toe of looking at what is actually really, what are you holding on to? So throughout the day, something that I tell patients too is like, even just like kind of get on the floor and curl yourself into a tiny ball. If you've ever done yoga, they do this at the very end of the yoga session where they say, curl as tight as you can, like flex every muscle in your body and then release it, because sometimes people don't know what it feels like to release because they're tense all the time. So they're like, I don't know what releasing means. Well, if you tense as hard as you can and then release, you get the opposite effect, and you can kind of understand what tense and release feels like. So that is the kind of quick and dirty of a body scan, but that's something that I think is really helpful for people to even throughout the day, set a timer, set a reminder. What am I holding on to? Where am I clenching? Just even pull your shoulders to your ears and then release them and kind of get that feeling of like, oh, and you can kind of do that even exaggerated sigh. I think that's such a helpful tool.
Joy, something that you were saying, you're talking about like the pelvic floor, and that makes sense. Like that speaker was talking about things maybe originate there, because isn't that also where your root chakra is?
Yes.
So it's like all very connected with the root and keeping us grounded.
Yeah. And he really argued, and again, I don't have like the science, the data on hand, like in front of my face, but I would Google it, look it up, as far as having a very tense pelvic floor correlated with this like constant state of alert.
Can you remember the last time that either one of you felt completely relaxed and like no tension, no anxiety? I mean, I'm just thinking about it because we're always so tense and anxious and have some sort of emotion running. It's like, I can't even remember when I felt just...
That's a really good question.
Like a noodle.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, it is, again, what I say when I'm in the present, like I'm thinking about that road trip with Char and dancing in the car. So it's like you're physically releasing. Like that is a physical release. So while I'm not feeling anxious, I'm feeling happy and I'm feeling alive in my body. That present moment is where we do feel that way. Now, the interesting thing, I think, and I don't know what the answer is to this, the interesting thing is when I think of myself under chronic stress and I think about fear, like in the moment, is there danger right now? And then I think about anxiety of worry. I think both of those can be really true, right? Like my husband's body is fighting a disease, so there is a lot of fear there. The worry part, I'm a mother with 2 kids and I've got a lot on my plate. Of course, there's going to be worry there. And so this is where I think sometimes honoring the thoughts, we might need to do that to go back to, Rebecca, what you were asking about, how do we then relax our body? So we're not going to relax our body by being like, let me shut down those thoughts. Because you're not. Thoughts are like a heartbeat. They're just going to keep going, right?
Yeah.
And we're not going to relax our body by staying in the thoughts, because the anxious thoughts are contagious. I mean, go talk to somebody who's anxious and you're going to be totally dysregulated. It's the most contagious.
Is transferable.
Oh my God. It's wildfire and gas. Like it is.
Yeah. This is why the news, you need to take it in doses. Go back to our news episode where we talk about reading the news and keeping the boundary.
Totally.
It's transferable, and that's all. Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah, so we want to honor the experience, right? Like I don't feel safe right now. I've got a lot of things going on right now. Whatever it is that we can do to kind of honor that, then we can start to practice ways to connect with the body. Going back to like the body scan, going back to like a healthy way to release stress. But if we don't set the pause button in the brain, then to Rebecca's point, our body's walking around, walking tension. This is where we see autoimmune. This is where we see disease. This is where we see all different types of things coming up because we're just like suppress. As a therapist, I see this all the time. I see people holding their breath. They're holding their emotions. I'm like, okay, you're not breathing. Do you notice that? There's a shortness that's happening, that's going on. And so think about that. If we're not breathing all the way because of worry, because of fear, because of all those different things, our nervous system is staying in this heightened stress response. It's not good for us. So anyways, I'm saying all the things, but going into the relaxed state. So I would say relaxed, to answer your question about, it's very intentional for me, very intentional. I just signed up at the tanning salon to do this massage thing, and they have a red light therapy and they have a hydration thing. So I'm literally using it like a spa, and it forces me to be really present. Like I'm like, this is an hour that I'm going to do once a week where I go in and I do all the skin stuff. But it's very, very, very intentional. Without the intentionality, it is really hard.
So am I hearing you say essentially name it when you have the feeling, like, and accept that this is happening, and then also set time ahead of time, set time throughout your week or your day where you're doing intentional moments to help you decompress?
Yeah, that's what I do. So I would say that I let myself think about everything. My personal thing is I run the tape all the way through to the worst. What's the absolute right now? That's death. What would that look that would be my worst case scenario with my husband, losing my husband. That would be the absolute worst case. And then I work my way back of like, okay, then there would be this, then there would be this. Okay, now I've already thought about all that. I don't need to ruminate and think about that anymore. I've already let myself go to the scariest possibility. That's when you come back and say, okay, now what do I need to do right here? Because that's not happening right now, right? Like there's a potential, but it's not happening right now. COVID, I used to do this with people, right? Like I'm going to lose my job. Okay, go all the way to the scariest thing. I lost my job. Okay, now let's work it back. How do you get health insurance? How do you file for unemployment? Can you talk to your mortgage? And then once we've done that and the worry's coming up again, it's like, well, we don't need to keep worrying about that because we've already gone all the way. We've already ran the tape all the way through. You already know option A, B, and C. Now we just wait and hopefully enjoy the time that we do have. So yeah, that would be my process.
I like the reminder that anxiety is there also to protect us. We think it's like self-preservation, that if we worry about it, we're kind of taking control of the situation, or at least we can kind of like prepare for the worst. I think of what Brene Brown says as far as kind of beating vulnerability to the punch, thinking that if you worry through the worst case scenario, that you will then beat vulnerability to the punch. The worst case scenario won't hurt as much. Well, that's not true. No matter what happens, the worst case scenario, I'm saying this in quotes, whatever that means, going to hurt. So worry is not going to prepare. Worry is not preparation. So I love the idea, Chelsea, of you saying, I'm going to play the tape out. Like that's what works for you. And let's preface this as everyone's going to be different of what works for them. I love that you're like, what works for me is I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to the very worst case scenario, and then I'm going to work backwards, and I'm going to do my best to stay in the present and do what I can today, because you're not ignoring it. And I think that's also really important, is people will sometimes kind of bury it or avoid it, and that just makes it worse. So it does have to run that life cycle of, okay, I'm feeling anxious. What can I do to kind of let this live its life cycle so that I can then bring it back into the present and bring my body back into, calmer state. So that's a really good reminder. I also think that sometimes people that experience, I've had friends and clients who are, when you get to that really high anxiety, you're too far away from the emotion of calm. Don't gaslight yourself into thinking like, well, now I just need to calm down, because that's not possible. You're too far away. You're at the top of the staircase and calm is at the very bottom of the staircase. So what you should probably do, if it feels right, is do some jumping jacks, do some like push-ups, or do some burpees.
Yeah.
Do something that's really physical too, that can kind of get that, and use that energy as a fuel to kind of get it through your body somehow, if that's a tool that might be helpful for you. I've had had some friends who were like, call me in the parking lot being like, I feel like I'm having a panic attack for A, B, and C. I'm like, go walk around the parking lot. Like, go do something that's physical to kind of get out of your body and channel that energy to kind of move through it, if you will.
Joy, that's a great visual of thinking about where you are on the stairway or the steps, right? Like, where's calm? Let's say it's at the bottom and you're at the top. Like, how are you going to get there? Because
it's too far away.
You can't just, I love that. And I'm thinking too, like, because you're talking about physical activity to kind of release. Also, you know, you can go put your wrist in under cold water. It's like that immediate,
The
like
vagus nerve.
it just like jolts you, kind of wakes you up. You know, some people talk about using like something tart, like citrus or sour candy, which Chelsea and I love sour candy.
Yes. We're helping ourselves, Rebecca.
That's why I shouldn't be anxious at all as much as I eat of it, but guess what? I am. But yeah, or splash some cold water on your face, right?
Yeah,
like so you can do
hijacks the
physical
system.
or some of these other tips. But yeah, I love that. The stair steps. Where are you on it?
And think about the stair steps as when we go back to the root of needing that calm, available parent to say you're safe. So that's the hope, right? In parenting, we hope that we do this with our kids so that when they're adults and their anxiety's activated, they know how to do that. You're safe, you're calm, you're here, you're that. They know how to get to that process. So if you think about the stairs, those steps are the support of how you're kind of talking somebody off the ledge, right? So if we go forward to Joy's laugh and cry, her girlfriend saying, I understand that you feel this way. And I've read this information and it's really common. If she would have said, I read this information and it's really common without giving the stair step of connection, calm first, you may or may not have taken it in. So sometimes we jump over that. We need the safety to come from the connection, whether that's connection to ourselves, connection to other, connection, some sort of connection. And then we can take in the logic of like, okay, this isn't happening right now, but there's no logic without connection. So try to, if you can, think of a parent giving the validation of the connection and the child goes, oh, I'm safe. And then we can take in new information. Without the safety, we're not taking in anything. We're just responding to the environment. And that coping skill of let me worry because anxiety is such a high functioning. It can be such a high functioning OCD-ish, type A personality. Let me think about all the solutions. Let me know all these things, right? Because the brain's working so hard. It makes us, and we're so disconnected from the body. It can be over functioning. And so that's not great. It's not great. Guys, we need to calm it down, slow it down.
Well, and I also just realized, like taking my example, I realized that the reality is, the truth is, I am terrified of losing him.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes. And of course.
You know? And I just kind of had to say that. I was like, he's old and I know that my time with him is very short and I'm terrified of that. And that's okay. But under that anxiety is fear, is sadness, is grief, you know? So it's that roller coaster tidal wave of emotions that come along with actually what's really going on.
And the anxiety is like almost like that avoidance of dealing, kind of how we talked about anger last week, right?
Exactly.
If we can think of some of these emotions as protective pieces, the anxiety says, let's stay out of our head because the body is too unsafe to be in. I know that's what happened to me at the hospital. Let me dissociate and shut it down. And then let me stay in my head and beat myself up. Because if I beat myself up, that feels a lot better than thinking about how scary it is to have a tumor growing, right? Yeah. That's way easier for me to be like, let me just beat the crap out of myself and then worry about I'm screwing up my kids and I'm a terrible mother and blah, 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 blah. Like, let me do that because that's much safer than what the truth is. Fear and grief, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, Joy, I'm thinking about you and JT that, again, this anxiety is trying to keep you safe, or this worry, because we know when you lose him, it will be extremely painful, and your brain's thinking pain. We all want to avoid pain at all cost. Avoid. Totally. And it's like your brain can't discern the difference between physical pain and emotional pain because they are like the same thing in your brain. And it's the same pathways. And it's like, we don't want her to feel pain. So how do we solve it? Because you want to solve it. But we all know there are things we cannot solve and things will happen to us. And so I almost feel like in a way I have to tell myself that it's going to be painful. I'm going to, I can think about all the other hard times I've been through. I'm going to make it. Yes, I might fall apart, but I will still survive because we all have this will to survive, to keep going. And that's what keeps us keep chugging along.
Yeah. I love that, Rebecca. It's going to be painful. Like just saying it out loud. Yes, this will happen. He will die. He doesn't have much time left. He's 13. Like I just go through all this of it will be painful when that happens.
And people are going
to ultimately,
And people are going to surround you with love because the people that are your friends and family, they know how hard this is too. And they're going to hold space for you during that time.
It's just that anticipatory grief. You know what it is too? And we can kind of move on from this, but I feel like the unknown, because I don't know when it's going to happen. And I want to prepare. I want to do the Brene Brown. I want to beat vulnerability to the punch. I want to be, it's like not knowing what day is terrifying. So like having one little thing happen to him this morning that I was like, is this the day? You just kind of go into this panic. So yeah, it's just recognizing at the core of it is it's going to be painful.
Also say when we know the day, we still have the same feelings. So it doesn't really matter whether we know or not. We have the same exact feelings.
Can you say that again? Whether we know it or not.
We have the same exact feelings. I mean,
the same thing.
Because I've just been through this. I'm talking about like death, that type of death feeling. Like I've had it with pets where I knew we had a 2-week time period. We actually scheduled the euthanasia. And I thought, oh, this is going to be better, right? Because I know. I almost felt like that was worse.
Yeah.
It's like, so I've been through both and knowing it's really bad. It's bad either way because it sucks.
It's bad. It just sucks. It's
painful. Yeah. It's painful. Yeah. Our life is full of pain. And we also need to accept that we have pain, but that we also have a will to survive and keep moving along.
And I want to add to that, Rebecca, enjoy what you're saying. I think it's really profound to highlight that the suffering's going to happen. We're not going to beat vulnerability. The pain's going to come because, that's life. We're all going to have the pain. When you love somebody or you love a pet or you have something that you lose, you're going to feel pain. And the choice is this. You can needlessly suffer by staying in the anxiety and trying to beat it by the what ifs and all of that, or you can do what it is that you need to do to process the grief, process the sadness, process the emotions, and then you get to live. Because we can't live if we're living in anxiety, in an anxious state all the time. Right. You're not living. You're just waiting for the next terrible thing. Exactly. And if I've learned anything in life with going through some of the obstacles that I've been through in my lifetime, man, I regret the needless suffering that I have caused myself where I worried about all these things that turned out or didn't turn out. But now I know. It took me a long time. I'm almost 40. I'll be 47 very soon. I know. It's coming up. My birthday. We're recording on my birthday, March 10th. Well, yeah.
Oh, wow.
To the 47 club.
Yeah. But I think about it and now I've learned that needless suffering, that's in vain. And so I've had to really work to rewire my brain to learn how to do it differently. And that has been a journey because it's not something like, oh, I learned a tip and trick and now I'm great, right? Like this is an active process to continue to work through anxiety. And whether that's medication, whether that's meditation, whether that's body scans, whether that's exercise, whether that's
therapy,
coaching, whether that's going through your support system of your friends, whatever that looks like for you, there's lots of ways to do it. So
practice.
That's a really
good reminder is all of these things that we're talking about is not just like a quick listen to a podcast for an hour and you're going to have it. It just takes so much practice.
Oh my gosh. And mine was doing a lot of the root work, like healing the old wounds that have nothing to do with here, by the way. Nothing to do with this moment of anxiousness. This is like old ass shit.
Yeah. But I like what you said too, Chelsea, around you're like, I regret the times where you like needlessly suffered.
I do.
And worried a lot. And I think we said this, I think in one of the first episodes with talking about Steve and like how he views the situation he's in. And you're like, he's just kind of like, why not me? Like we're just going to go through this. And sounds like he lives in the present too. I'm sure
he's very good at the present.
But like that's such an amazing way to live when you're going through what you're going through. But thank you for sharing that.
Rebecca, you're going to be turning 50 soon?
Yeah, in April.
Oh my gosh, when's your birthday?
April 29th.
Oh my gosh, you're a Taurus. I have so many Taurus friends.
I know.
Oh, well, this was a great discussion.
Yes.
I really liked our full circles coming all the way in today. And there's so much more with anxiety, but I'll just leave it with, you do not have to go through this alone. Don't stay in your head. Get help.
No.
Seek support. Seek safety, whether that's a good friend, whether that's your pet, helping your nervous system, whatever it is. Anxiety to me is one of the worst feelings in the whole entire world. I hate it. It's one of the worst feelings that will just take me out. I hate it. So I have so much compassion for anybody going through anxiety. It's terrible. So next week, who wants to share about next week?
Moments of growth from hard lessons. Like, we all kind of have these hard things in life and the lessons that they teach us, and how do we grow from them?
I look at it as a flowers growing in weeds. You got to pick out
or like the
weeds.
crack in the sidewalk, right?
Yes. Or the what is it?
The canary.
No. It's the Japanese.
That's something else.
Japanese glass. I write about that. How
The gold.
the gold glass,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But they put the broken pieces together with
and
like
it
gold
becomes
or something.
stronger
Yeah.
because of the break. Yeah, I've wrote about that before. Yeah, you become stronger because of the break, and it's the Japanese beautiful glass, and it becomes actually more valuable. So I think of the hard lessons in life. That is the shatter. And then the beautiful gold glue, that is actual gold coming together. And then you're more valuable and you're more resilient and you're stronger. So we're going to share, think of some hard lessons.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to dig up.
I'm gonna have some anxiety
stuff.
now.
Oh, I'm feeling anxious too. I was like, ew, whose dumb idea was this, Chelsea?
I'm starting to sweat right now.
Me too. I'm starting to think about hard lessons. I'm like, ew, do we want to talk about this? I guess we do.
I guess we're gonna be vulnerable.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
are.
We're just gonna. I guess we're human. I guess we're imperfect humans. Dang it.
We are.
Y'all, you found out our club secret.
Yep.
Imperfect. A lot of cries. Several
Lots of
laughs.
cries.
And thinking
lot of
about our own
anxiety.
screw-ups gives us a lot of anxiety.
We thank everybody for being here. What a great topic to talk about today.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, audience, for supporting us. As always, you can rate and review us on any podcast app that you're listening on. Share it with a friend. You can write us an email, laughcryclub@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. Any topic suggestions or questions that you have for us, feel free to send them there. Follow us at Laugh Cry Club on all of our social media platforms. And until next time, keep it real, Laugh Cry Club.
Keep it real.
Keep
Feel
what a
those
nerd.
emotions.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
That's life, baby.